God, that is such an elite sound. I can't even get over it. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. It's always an exciting day when we get to listen to somebody who's brand new. Well, brand new to me and brand new to this channel. And that is metal singer Dan VASC, or it could be Vash. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that, so correct me in the comment section if I'm incorrect. I know absolutely nothing about him, but I'm so excited to listen. This is going to be so much fun. This is Amazing Grace, a very, very well-known song performed by Dan. Here we go.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to feel, and grace my fears relieve. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. How nice is it to have a luscious, low voice? We've done so many high voices in high songs, and this piece might go up there eventually, but it's so nice to hear something with depth. When we have a lower voice like this, or when a song starts in kind of a lower range like this, I want to hear that depth. I want to hear that chest voice. And at the same time, I personally prefer when it's very relaxed and we sort of let the voice settle in the chest. And this entire part so far, it's been 1 minute and 26 seconds. It's been super relaxed. I love that. Amazing Grace is one of the most famous songs of all time. It's been performed thousands, tens of thousands of times, hundreds of thousands of times in the world. And it's already a good song, but to make it great, you have to add your own personality and your own flair. And so far, 1 minute and 26 seconds in, what am I getting from Dan here? I'm getting some depth, I'm getting some relaxation on the face, and some seriousness as well, right? It's very, very serious, kind of somber piece. He's doing it really, really well. Let's go back to verse 2 and listen to that one more time.
'Twas grace that taught my heart to feel, and grace my fears relieve. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, taunts and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home.
Okay, don't tell me he's going to play harmonica now. So he sung in the low octave, then he jumped up an octave, and now he's going to play harmonica. Come on, stop being so talented. Love the fact that he can flip up into the higher octave without losing any of that depth. That's the big thing for me. So many people can sing with a fairly wide range, but sometimes it sounds like two different voices, and we don't want that. We want the voice to sound even from the bottom all the way to the top. And when he flipped up into the higher octave, it was higher in the voice.
believe through many dangers, storms, and snares.
So the texture is going to thin out slightly, but he still maintained the connection to the body and maintained some of that vocal depth that we really want. And on top of that, to add even more accomplishments to this voice, it didn't sound strained either. So I'm naturally a lower voice and I have to work harder to sing higher in my voice. I would say Dan is probably naturally a fairly lower voice and has to work to go higher in the voice, right? So sometimes if you're a high tenor, for example, you have to work harder to sing lower without it sounding strained and kind of pushed. Same thing for us baritones. We have to work hard in a higher range to make it not seem so strained. We don't want that. I've gone back a bit just to show this posture, but look at the striking pose that he has. So there's actually space. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but there's space in between the ribs here. And that's very wide. It's a wide posture. And what that allows him to do is get more space in the ribs when he breathes in. So when you breathe in, you want those ribs to expand just because it gives you a bit more fuel to work with. And by having the arms a little bit out like this, bit of space, you get more room to breathe. If you're clamped shut like this and you're really tight in the body, guess what? Your sound is going to sound tight as well.
Thus far, and grace will lead me was blind, but now I
What? Whoa, that had a little bit of everything. Holy smokes. And he ended this video with a black screen so we can just see our stunned reactions. Big thank you to Dan for doing something that I think all singers should strive for. It's giving variety in a song. I mean, I don't know if you need to do it to this level because this is just so much. So what do we have here? We started with the low tones, and then He bumped up the octave and made it a bit more interesting. And then he played harmonica for a verse. And then he gave us that full-on metal sound. That's what I was waiting for. But even within that metal sound, he was low and he was high, and then he was very high and everywhere in between. So even within that kind of sound, he was still giving variety. And that's exactly what we need in a song like this. Everyone on this earth pretty much knows Amazing Grace. Maybe you've sung it yourself. Maybe you've listened to 100 different versions. So I want something new when I listen to a new version. If I'm judging whether or not I will listen again, it's how different it is from everything else or how well it's performed. And he hits the best of both worlds with this one because he gave us so much to think about, but it also just sounds good overall. You could throw the kitchen sink in terms of variety and styles into a song, but if it's not performed well and executed well, it's just not that great. This is not one of those cases. It's just brilliant. I've gone back so we can listen to the verse after the harmonica, and this is where we get the metal sound. And there's a couple things that I want to point out here, so let's listen first. Okay, so there's a big key change. That's another thing that I didn't even point out yet. How many key changes were there in this? It just kept going up and up and up, building this moment at the end. It's fantastic. So when he started that verse, it almost leads me to believe that he's perhaps had some classical training. I could be wrong, but there was just an operatic feeling to that opening of the verse. As he goes along, it slightly becomes more and more metal. Especially when he goes higher, we can hear that distortion. But there was a lot of very even vibrato in there. He had a nice wide stance. He had an open mouth. It sounded almost operatic to me. So I wouldn't be surprised if he had some sort of training. If you know, leave a comment. So I'm really interested in Dan's choices when it comes to vowels and consonants. So some of his vowels, maybe I can find a frame here. So here, open mouth, the jaw's a little bit forward. We see the front teeth, right? Giving him that bite, giving him that kind of cut that we want. And then a little bit further along, again, the jaw opens even more. So he's opening the vowels. If you say a word like me and you go E this way, it's just going to tighten up here. Even in metal, right? Doesn't matter. E becomes eh. We want to open up those vowels. Now, with the consonants, he elects to go with kind of harder consonants at the front. Like me, when he does sing an E vowel lower in his voice, it's more like me, E, and the front of his mouth is really closed. See if we can find that. So year is very small. When he goes higher, that's going to open up. C, that's the word C, right? So he kind of goes C with his mouth closed and his tongue compressed in the mouth there. So it's giving him a very forward sound. And I think that helps him to kind of cut into the texture. I mean, when you're a metal singer, you have to have a lot of sound, but you can't scream all the time. That's just not how it works. And good metal singers like Dan do not scream. They have a good understanding of what it means to breathe when we sing so that they don't blow out their instruments.
God's praise, that when we touch the amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
I absolutely love that ending. We're going to go back and talk about that in just a moment. But let's go back to the beginning of this verse. So this is where I think Dan really lets his voice shine. I think this is his best verse. Amazing Grace. How perfect is that? I think his decisions in this final verse are really, really smart, and it makes it such a fantastic ending. So let's look at this opening line, Amazing Grace. And when he sings grace, he's actually going to go to the second half of the diphthong. So what a diphthong is when we have two vowels back to back in one syllable, I guess you could say. So grace, A is the diphthong. A, and an E. So A. And a lot of time when we sing, we might go Amazing Grace. And then the E part is kind of at the end. Now, what Dan did here was he went to the second part immediately. Let's see if we can hear that. Yeah, so he wanted to go to the E vowel. That was a conscious decision because he knows that his E vowel is going to have more punch to it. And he wants as much punch as he possibly can. So he goes, Grace. I love it. He's a smart singer. I can already tell. Okay, so not only does he opt up, which is, I mean, I love that. But look at the vowel here. So that's the word me, but his mouth is wide open. Meh, meh. Talk about this all the time. We do it in every single genre of singing. It doesn't matter what it is. If you have an E vowel high in your range, you're going to open up to an eh. So he scrunches up the eyes and the forehead, just giving himself so much resonance and bite in those cheekbones, showing the front teeth to give more of that brightness. And as you can tell, it's a full body activity to sing something like that. Yeah. So you add that. He opts up. He sings high. He modifies the vowel to an eh. And then what does he do? He doesn't breathe going into the next phrase. It's like a bridge. He just goes right through. Listen to that again. Oh my God. That is such an elite sound. I can't even get over it. Okay, I love it. So he said, I. He did the same thing with grace. So he sang the word I, but instead of going I, which we would do in a lot of singing, we want to stay on the first vowel. He did the opposite, which I love, love, love. He went I, because he knows that E vowel is good. So it must be a vowel that really works for him. I mean, it sounds like it is. We all have our vowels that work to our advantage. Mine is more of an ah vowel because I'm a classical musician. So I like to keep things very open. But I think E is a really good vowel for him. So he's going to go right to it. See if we can hear that. And then he does the exact opposite here because he has to. So the word is C. Yeah. So he goes sa because it's super high. He holds the as long as he can. And then at the very last second, he goes E. He gives us that diphthong. Or else we wouldn't know what the word is, right? So he's smart.
Was blind, but now I see.
And then he adds a long, long note at the end because why not? Why the heck not? I love discovering new artists and it's all thanks to you. So Dan's recommendation comes from a YouTube video that I did. Somebody left a comment, said you should check out Dan, an amazing metal singer singing Amazing Grace. You will weep. Yeah, it's so exciting for me because now I get to go down the rabbit hole of this artist and I get to explore more metal and more covers and interpretations of works in a metal fashion in Dan's own style. It's fantastic. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you might enjoy some of the videos about to pop up on your screen. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.